Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. I think we stopped at verse number 23, was it?
Check Gurudev, last one was I think left, or one paragraph was there, what I remember, part 2.
Part 2, is it? Okay.
Yeah, the last verse was left, I think. Yeah, this one.
This one, right? We'll read this one more time, this verse, and then we'll go forward. Yeah, we'll do verses 20, 21 one more time, and then we'll go forward. This verses 20 and 21 from chapter 6, verses are 25 and 26. Shanai Shanai Ruparamet Buddhya Dhriti Gruhitaya Atma Samstham Manah Kritva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. Slowly, gradually, endowed with a discerning intellect, one ought to strive for Atma, the self, dedicating the mind for the steadfast pursuit of Atma. One shall not think of any other. Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalamastiram tatas tatah niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. For whatever reason, wherever the fickle and unsteady mind goes, from there and there, bringing it back, lead it towards the pursuit of Atma. The mind is unsteady, fickle, and unpredictable. The mind, again, can be violent and rash. Such a mind must be treated like even how a rogue horse is trained. One must be gentle in dealing with the mind, and it should be made to believe that its owner wishes hitam, benefit, or good for it. Then also, there is every possibility that it will simply run away from what you have chosen for it. The mind needs to be handled very gently. That is why Bhagavan mentioned Shanaihi Shanaihi, meaning slowly, gently, gradually, and softly, and train it to understand that you are the well-meaning master for it. Such a mind can still be a rogue and run away from your chosen task, which is the pursuit of Atma for the mind. Whenever, for whatever reason, and wherever the mind runs away, very lovingly bring it back and employ it in your chosen task. The task is self-inquiry, culminating in Atma Jnana or self-knowledge. This is the business of the intellect, which is required to be steady, discerning, and discriminating. The mind must be made to revel in the thoughts of Atma. This is a tricky problem. It is the mind, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manah, that which thinks of something and in no time thinks of something, some other thing always. So this is a tricky problem. It is the mind, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha, that which thinks of something and in no time thinks of some other thing always, which you are training to do your job. This is the mind that you're training to do your job. But it is the unsteady mind which can think any thought, including your chosen Atma-related thought. Besides this, when we say you train the mind, the question is, who is that you? Is it not your mind? Here, the intellect, nischayatmika buddhi, and way up 1 second. So besides this, when we say you train the mind, the question is, who is that you? Is it not your mind? Here, the intellect, nischayatmika buddhi, that which firmly decides after proper discrimination, takes over, and it is not just the mind. What is the difference? The you which trains the mind is your intellect, and you must befriend it very nicely and lovingly. It is like saying that the mind is the thief and also the police. The thief mind must be caught by the police mind. That is why Bhagavan said, Buddhya dhriti gruhitaya, meaning with the intellect, with a firm conviction that Atma Chintana and commitment towards it are a must for the progress of a sadhaka. The police mind is the intellect, and that is your treasure. Employ it to employ the mind in the right direction, the direction of Atma, your real self. In this connection, it is good to recollect a verse from the Vedanta Panchadashi by Swami Vidyaranya. Part of the verse in short says, Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhaya. Meaning wherever and wherever the mind goes, there and there, see the samavastu, which is Atma. You think of something and the very thought is Atma. Whatever object the mind thinks of, that object is Atma. Thus, substitute any thought with the thought of Atma, and then you are always with Atma. To be able to do this, one needs to have some idea of Atma. This, of course, requires knowledge of some pointers to Atma. The seventh mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad beautifully portrays Atma thus. Nanta prajnam na bahir prajnam no bhayata prajnam na prajnana ghanam na prajnam na prajnam adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam avyapadeshyam ekatma pratyaya saram prapanchopashamam shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigneyaha. Not the inner awareness, not the outer awareness, not the awareness of both, not the nebulous awareness, not awareness, not that it is not awareness, unseen, not possible to relate to anything, ungraspable, without attributes, not possible to think, not describable, the essence of experiences. In that, the universe subsides. That is peace, that is auspicious, and none like it. Considered to be the fourth, that is Atma, that is to be known. In the meaning of the mantra, awareness is used in the sense of Chetana, a meaning for Prajna. In short, what all notions about Atma that we have. Atma is not any of those. What all we know is through avidya or ignorance. That which is the very knowledge principle, Atma, how can it be available to avidya and its byproduct by mere words? How can that, which is the very basis of thought, be thought of? The Mandukya mantra sets the mind thinking intensely about Atma, and that is what is meant by Atma Samstham Manah Kritva. This couplet of verses is so rich in means and ideas that it enticed Bhagavan Ramana into favoring them. Verse number 22, chapter 6, verse 29. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshinaha. By means of yoga, nididhyasana, the one who cognizes the samavastu, Atma, perceives himself in every being and perceives all beings in oneself. Like it was said in the seventh mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad, Atma is prapanchopashamam. So there was a typo error there. The N was not there. It only showed as prapa. The N will have to add there. Prapanchopashamam ekatma pratyayasaram advaitam. When one directly knows this fact, then naturally only the samavastu, that is, Atma only is available for perception to that one, and no other thing or being is available for cognition for such a person. Even the world, its beings, its vagaries, its buffeting nature, all these will present themselves to that Samadarshinaha as mere sequences in a dream, and as such dismissed. Then there is no great effort required by that person to see oneself in all and all in oneself. It becomes so natural to that person to perceive thus that the person cannot see another. Thus, it is said that a jnani, when in front of an ajnani, indeed sees a jnani, because the jnani naturally knows that the ajnani is in essence ajnani, only difference being that the ajnani does not yet know it. Whenever a devotee queried, Bhagavan Ramana's disposition towards that devotee would have been like a jnani seeing a jnani in an ajnani, because sarvatra samadarshinaha. That is why sometimes, however silly the question was, Bhagavan Ramana's answer was always beneficial and sublime. Would not such a verse be dear to the Samadarshinaha? So I'm just going to read this one more time. Like it was said in the 7th mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad, Atma is prapanchopashamam, ekatma pratyayasaram, advaitam. When one directly knows this fact, this then naturally only the Samavastu, that is Atma, only is available for perception to that one, and no other thing or being is available for cognition for such a person. Even the world, its beings, its vagaries, its buffeting nature, all these will present themselves to that Samadarshinaha as mere sequences in a dream, and as such dismissed. Then there is no great effort required by that person to see oneself in all and all in oneself. It becomes so natural to that person to perceive thus that the person cannot see another. Thus it is said that a jnani, when in front of an ajnani, indeed sees a jnani, because the jnani naturally knows that the ajnani is in essence a jnani, only difference being that the ajnani does not yet know it. Whenever a devotee queried, Bhagavan Ramana's disposition towards that devotee would have been like a jnani seeing a jnani in an ajnani, because sarvatra samadarshinaha. That is why sometimes, however silly the question was, Bhagavan Ramana's answer was always beneficial and sublime. Would not such a verse be dear to the Samadarshinaha? Thus ends the message of part 2. Thus ends the first Shatka, that is the 6 chapters of the Gita. The message of part 3, verse 23. This is from the 7th chapter, it is the 17th verse. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Among them, the jnani, ever integrated, excels with his unshakable devotion. I am very dear to the jnani, and he is very dear to me. In the previous verse, that is the 16th verse of the 7th chapter, Bhagavan mentioned about 4 types of bhaktas, that is Artha, Jignasu, Artharthi, and Jnani. The Artha prays to Bhagavan, seeking security whenever frightened or whenever in difficulties or distress. The Jignasu Jnatum ichuhu, desirous of knowing. Praise to Bhagavan, trying to know who Bhagavan is, where he is, how he is, etc. The Artharthi, praise to Bhagavan, seeking food, shelter, clothing, wealth, power, fame, and a whole lot of physical comforts. Whereas the Jnani always prays to Bhagavan, knowing who he is, how he is, where all he is, what all he is, how loving he is, how he is he, and the like. The Jnani is ever rooted in the living essence of the Mahavakyas. Ayamatma Brahma, which is from the Mandukya Upanishad, Prajnanam Brahma from the Aitreya Upanishad, Tattvamasi Chandogya Upanishad, and Aham Brahmasmi Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and several such other mantras of the Shastra. The Jnani, without any craving, devoid of the tendency to seek or beg, always revels in the truth of the Upanishad Vakyas. The Jnani praying to Bhagavan is just natural to him, like breathing, and the prayer does not waver, neither does it ask for any favor, nor does it ever stop. Whatever the Jnani may be doing, the underlying influence is the sublime thought of Bhagavan. Further, the Jnani's bhakti and prayer does not go jumping from one deity to another. Thus, our experience from the pages of history is that all Mahatmas just simply stuck to one deity throughout their life and were benefited. This is the import of the first line of the verse. The second line of the verse equates, as it were, such a person to a Jnani who loves Bhagavan like he loves himself. That is why Bhagavan is very dear to him, and he also is very dear to Bhagavan. In the succeeding verse, Bhagavan mentioned as Jnani tu Atma eva me matam, whereas my opinion is that the Jnani is indeed I. Bhagavan Ramana, who lived this verse, naturally liked it. Let me know if you want to repeat any part of this previous verse. Just for our recollection, we came across the Mahavakyas again, the Brahma Sutras. So, Tattvamasi Chandogya Upanishad is from the Samaveda. Then Prajnanam Brahma Aitreya Upanishad is from the Atharva Veda. And then Aham Brahmasmi Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is from the Yajurveda. And then Ayamatma Brahma, the Mandukya Upanishad, must be from the Rig Veda. So each Mahavakya is from, although there are several Mahavakyas, they've picked the four that were picked by Bhashyakara, Shankaracharya, were these four. So verse 24, this is from chapter 7, the 19th verse. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. At the end of many births, the Jnani takes refuge in me. That Mahatma who realizes that all this is Vasudeva is very rare. The Garbhopanishad says that the Jiva, when in the womb, suffering the pangs of prenatal arrest, vows that when once released from the mother's womb, he will devote his entire life to the feet of the Almighty, ever pray to him devotedly, free himself from all attachments, and always soak his mind with the thoughts of the Lord. But at the time of delivery from the womb into this world, he is covered by Maya, and then onwards, a new life of ignorance starts. This is because, despite his vows which he made, that is, unable to suffer the pangs of arrest when in the womb, his mind has not evolved yet to entertain the thoughts of the higher, and the mind is still very dirty. However, birth after birth, he would make incremental progress towards realization of the truth of life, and at the end, finally, of many trying births, he evolves himself as a jnani and takes complete refuge in Bhagwan. Which Bhagwan? Vasudeva Sarvamidam iti bhavanena, with the thought that all this is indeed Vasudeva. And who is Vasudeva? Vyasa Bhagwan beautifully defines Vasudeva in his Vishnu Sahasranamam thus: Vasanat Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarvabhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostate. The fragrance of Vasudeva clothes the three worlds, the indweller of all beings. Vasudeva, salutations to you. So it is Vasanat Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarvabhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostate. Just 1 second.
Hariom, this is the answer to Mrinalji's question, whether we evolve birth after birth.
Yeah, I think her question was more about whether an ethical person who's not into this, how does he evolve? That was a question. But we saw that answer once in some other thing where there is some punya that he would do. That is the grace of that is how he accrues grace. And the very grace will somehow get him onto this path. He may be doing, be in the company of people who are doing such things, maybe some puja, something like that. And then slowly he will evolve. And then what Nana told us was not to worry so much about, our focus and attention should be, again, it should be Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. It is for us to evolve and not to worry about
The evolution process.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the mind might wander away here and there. Like it was said earlier, like a child, very lovingly, very gently, you should bring the mind back to this Atma Vastu again and again. Shanaihi, Shanaihi Ruparame. Because otherwise, there are so many things you can think of. The whole gamut of the whole anything in the universe can be thought of. But then you're wasting up your mind's energy. So little by little, you train the mind to stay on this thought.
Very beautiful. Just that focusing only on one deity. I know Nanaji has several times told us that that Eka Bhakti. But still, I don't know. It happens, no? Like some Ganesha, when it is the festival of Ganesha, we pray. If Shravana is there, Lord Shiva. If Gokulashtami comes, then Lord Krishna. But I think we have to see that Nirguna Brahma behind all those Saguna.
Yeah, that is one
Isn't
way of
it?
looking at it. Correct. It
As
is one.
Gurudev says, now we have a wheat and we can eat the bread, but we cannot eat the bread whole time. So we make a puri, we make a paratha, like that. Simple. So any form.
Very beautiful. Yeah.
That is only the means. I mean, the different deities are only representative of the Ekatattva, of that one principle, that is Atma. So
Yeah,
as long
because-
as... Hmm.
Yeah, please continue, Brahmaraj.
No, go ahead.
No, this in Garbha Upanishad just now it is said that for 9 months he knows that as soon as he's out, he has to just take shelter in Brahma, Atma only. But he forgets, he gets that avarana of Maya. So to get ourselves free from Maya also, we have to pray to the Prakriti, right?
Correct.
Very beautiful today's. I mean, every day it is beautiful, but the way you are explaining is also so wonderful, Brahmaraj. Dhanyavad.
Yeah, very grateful to Nanaji for suggesting this. It's like giving the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Really, really, you know how they say, you crush the sugarcane and get the sugarcane juice, like that. You're getting the real essence. So grateful for this suggestion and these sessions. And just now a thought came to me that how to focus on one God. Even I was thinking about it, and we do have all these festivals, like today is Varalakshmi Vritam, so we pray to Devi. Navratri, we pray to Devi. So just now, Narad Bhakti Sutra, what Gurudev Narada Muni said, no, that you can have 11 forms of love towards the divine. So I just thought that throughout all these festivals, you take one bhava for each god and do that. Like, I don't know if there's anything called motherly affection. Is there anything like that? I know there is a Vatsalya Shakti.
Yeah, there
So
is
when we-
Vatsalya Bhav.
Very
So
beautiful.
you take that bhav when you're doing Devi as mother. Then when you take Krishna, you can do Kanta Shakti or whatever, however you are attracted to Krishna, either as a child or as a beloved or as a Sakha. So today I thought I'll sit and do that. Sit down and write down those 11 bhavas and attribute one God to that. Felt like just
Very
sharing
nice,
with you.
very beautiful, Sumaji. Wonderful. Brahmaraj,
you.
if you need any help
Yeah,
in
if you are
sharing
able
the
to,
screen, just
yeah,
let me know. For
yeah,
few half an hour, I can do that.
yeah. Let me just finish this verse, Bila, and then you can do that. Huh?
Okay.
Thank you. Which is fine. I mean, I understand with what, see, if you look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was a Durga Upasaka. He was only a Devi Upasaka. And Ramana Maharshi was in Arunachala, which is supposed to be the abode of Shiva. And Mirabai, for instance, was only, for her, Krishna was her world. So I think that is what Nana is trying to mention there, and which is what is also Eka Bhakti. There is nothing wrong and in praying to the other gods, as long as you know the truth and the essence behind. sometimes, see, as it is, we have a short life, we have a limited lifespan. So in this lifespan, how do you want to direct your efforts, your sadhana, your mind? You're training your mind. Ultimately, it is training the unsteady mind by the discriminating intellect. That buddhi grahyam, it is with the intellect which is discerning that you can slowly train this rogue mind, which is trying to go from one to the other. And if you remember, in Atma Bodh, I think in the introduction to Atma Bodh, Swami Chinmayananda so very clearly says, the mind always tries to get distracted away from the thought of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry, I think, and even the want, the desire to inquire about the self, which is mumukshutva, which is the essence of mumukshutva, itself is such a blessing. And the rogue mind tries to get distracted with this and that and everything. So no doubt, I mean, today's Varalakshmi Vrata, even I have made some preparations. But when I'm reflecting back, I'm thinking, if I had directed that, see, no doubt it is auspicious, no doubt the experience you get out of doing all that is great. But ultimately, don't we need to ascend a little higher beyond that, the Saguna Brahma Upasana? We'll have to move from the form to the formless. That is the journey, isn't it? The more you get caught up in the form, you might lose focus on the formless. But if you have your attention hooked onto the formless, then it doesn't matter what form you take care of. So I think that may be the subtle difference in how we relate to all of this.
Jai Gurudev. I think like initially it is like you are in the Saguna Bhakti. You have that form because you initiate with that thought, with that form, and you or you are at the lower level, you can say. But as the time will pass by, as you are consistent with all your spiritual practices or meditations and everything, like adhyatma study, everything is going on simultaneously, then I think when it will convert from saguna to nirguna, you will also don't know it. It is only that intense bhakti which will develop, that the transformation from saguna to nirguna will happen. I think it this way, like, because if you are focusing on nirguna, you can't focus. You will have that picture in your mind, if whatever problem you have or whatever with the bhakti mode you are doing, you visualize some deity, but as we will move on this path, I think the time will come when this saguna will convert into nirguna itself. I feel so. Thank
I
you.
Jai
agree with
Gurudev.
you. I
Jai Gurudev.
totally agree with you. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev, Sumaji, and just now how Savita ji has explained, it is exactly the same process happens most of the time. And still we should miss in the Vyavhar, and the Dvait Bhav should be in our inner world, and that develops in the inner world. But in the outer world, in the Vyavhar, there will always be Dvait. And so, because we are we are karma yogis, most of us, because we are grahasthas. So naturally, as per the
time and as per the seasons and all the deities and everything, in the Vyavhar, we behave exactly the same way as we were before coming on this path of knowledge. But from inside, that equanimity is there. कि ठीक है कभी कुछ ऊपर नीचे भी हो गया तो it like Dvait Bhav is there within us. Oh, today I couldn't do that Varalakshmi ka this thing and all. पहले जो restlessness था अभी वो equanimity है. If it is happening, wonderful, I am participating in it fully, but within me I am equanimous. That the Advait Bhav should be there. It develops inside us once we are on this path and as we move further on this path. It automatically happens from within. You are so become so this thing, but in the outer ways people will not see any big changes in you that suddenly you have become recluse or anything like that. You are very much a part of the all social activities, gatherings and all these karma kanda wherever it is happening. But now see, I was also like from childhood, it was a very natural this thing for me to get attracted to Krishna. Even I forced my mom in my toys that in the cupboard. No, I made my mother to make me a small altar there, and baby Krishna and whatever my mom used to do in her altar, I used to copy it in my altar also. So that much I used to make him sleep, baby Krishna, and everything I used to play. But now, and I love it very much, but now I laugh at it kind of. So I think the inner this thing becomes more and more Advait, and outer Vyavhar remains more or less same, but without any Ragdvesh. Jai Gurudev.
I agree with whatever you said, Belaji. And I also feel that since everything is done by the divine, whom to focus on, that will also come to us naturally from within. That's what I feel. And see, Ramana Maharshi and Ramakrishna Maharshi and Mirabai, they're all highly evolved souls. And they came, when they came into this world itself, they came with that devotion to that one particular energy, form of energy. And we are kind of evolving, or I don't know how to, whether those are the correct words. This Saguna is essential for us to associate, I feel, at least for me at this stage. It gives me joy. And that is that chitta, no? What is that? Satta chitta anandam. So that's how I look at it. Thank you.
Yeah.
The
Dr.
glimpse
Renu,
of this nirguna which you have is, it happens only when you meditate in the morning. Then you have this nirguna part, you know, you don't, after meditation, you don't have any face of deity coming in front of you, nothing, you know, that is, I think that is what you feel after meditation. It must be likened to like nirguna form. I don't know, like I am just assuming it. I don't know, but at that state when you finish off your meditation, in what state you are, it is just like you are connected to that higher consciousness for a moment. I think that would be maybe like a part of nirguna, which we experience after meditation.
Dr. Renu says
And
we
to
are
stay established in that state is the goal. isn't it? And that is also a gift.
It is the Sarvatra Samadarshinaha. That is how a Jnani looks at, which is what was mentioned in the previous verse, where a Jnani, when he looks at an Ajnani, all he sees is only Jnani. He sees himself everywhere. So that is the state the Jnani is in. Sarvatra Samadarshina. And he sees Samam Pashyati Sarvatra, Sarvam Cha Mai Pashyati. And he sees everyone in him. He himself in everyone, and everyone in him. If we are able to reach that state, that is the state of the Jnani. Otherwise, we are those 4 bhaktas that chapter 7, verse 16 talks of. Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani. Artha is the one who is in distress and who seeks. He prays because he wants to come out of the distress. A Jignasu is one who has this the keenness to know what is this, what is the universe, who am I? That is the Jignasu. Whereas the Ardharthi is only praying for his material comforts, for food, shelter, name, fame, all the material aspects. A Jnani is one who has this Eka Bhakti and who's reveling in that. He's already the one who has recognized this. So we will have to kind of decide, do a self-appraisal. Where are we in this? Bela, can I request you to take over for 10-15 minutes, if you're able to?
Yeah, Brahmaraji, only 15 minutes I'll be able to till 7.
By the time you get ready, I will just do this verse. So the fragrance of Vasudeva clothes the 3 worlds, the indweller of all beings. Vasudeva, salutations to you. That kind of a person, a Jnani, is indeed difficult to find, is rare. In the earlier verse, that is 18th verse of chapter 7, Bhagwan has already qualified the Jnani as Jnani tu Atma eva me matam. Whereas my opinion is that Jnani is indeed Atma, I. The import of this verse is that we must strive at all times to unravel the mystery of life, ever inquire into the purpose of our birth, and fruitfully spend our time in the thought and service of the Lord, and in the process cleanse the mind effectively to shorten the Bahunam Janmas to a few Janmas, and thereafter merge with the Lord. This merger is more like the wave realizing that it is indeed the oceanic water, and thus becoming the ocean. The cleaner the mind, the faster the self-realization. Bhagwan Ramana proved this maxim and thus liked it.
May I start the sharing screen?
Yeah, you can start the share screen. You can go on from verse 25, Bela.
Yeah. Yeah, so from the Dwichatvarimshat, we are in verse 25 from chapter 8, verse 21. I will just read from the Bhagavad Gita. Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. I hope I am audible and
Yeah.
clear.
If there is any difficulty, I will let you know. You can continue.
Yeah. And the screen is seen, right? Okay. because my all knobs have disappeared. So, okay.
Yeah. The screen is seen. You're quite audible and it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So the meaning for the verse 21 from chapter 8 and from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 25 of Ramana Maharshi, that is said to be unmanifest, undeclinable, and the supreme and having gain with no return, that is my supreme abode. I repeat, it is said to be unmanifest, undeclinable, and the supreme end, having gained which there is no return. That is my supreme abode. Unmanifest because it is not available for perception by the senses and the mind, intellect, equipment. These implements are all products of avidya, ignorance. I repeat, unmanifest because it is not available for perception by the senses and the mind, intellect, equipment. These implements are all products of avidya, ignorance. That which is an effect of avidya cannot cognize the very vidya principle, the knowledge principle, which is Bhagavan. Akshara, indeclinable, like even the space. I repeat, Akshara, indeclinable, like even the space. I think indeclinable is avyaya, right? Yeah. That which does not undergo any change, does not grow or diminish, is not subject to be influenced by anything whatsoever, is akshara, indeclinable. I repeat, that which does not undergo any change, does not grow or diminish, is not subject to be influenced by anything whatsoever, is akshara, indeclinable. That is the origin. That is sat, for which abhavaha na vidyate. Abhavaha, I think abhavaha. Abhavaha na vidyate. No non-being. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all that our mind can perceive, the intellect can cognize. I repeat the last line. That is the origin. That is Sat, for which Abhava na vidyate. No non-being. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all that our mind can perceive, the intellect can cognize. That was before anything began and will last the last dissolution. That unmanifest and indeclinable state, when one gains, that person is said to have merged with the supreme truth, and that is the Param Dhama, the final abode anyone can aspire. I repeat, very beautiful, that unmanifest and indeclinable state, when one gains, that person is said to have merged with the supreme truth, and that is the Param Dhama, the final abode anyone can aspire. Having gone where there is no further coming and going, and hence yama prapya na nivartante. After gaining which does not return. Return where? To the samsara. There is no janma, no mrityu, no boy, no girl, no world, no attachment, no delusion, no avidya. It's all Ananda, the supreme bliss. Is it any wonder that this verse was the favorite of Bhagavan Ramana? If you want me to repeat, just let me know before we go to the next verse of Dwichatvarimshat, verse
Repeat that
26.
shloka, please. Shloka only.
Yeah. The shloka is from chapter 8, verse 21. Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddhama paramam mama. The next verse is verse 26, and it is from chapter 9, verse 22nd. From the Dwichatvarimshat, it is verse 26. Okay. Ananyashintayantho mam ye janah paryupaste tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. As Brahmaraji had said, this is the midpoint of the whole 18 chapters and very beautiful shlok. So it's from chapter 9, verse 22nd, and our Dwichatvarimshat, verse 26. Whoever prays to me with no other thought, those who ever revel in the identity with me, I will secure their yogam and kshemam. I repeat, whoever prays to me, serves with no other thought, those who revel in the identity with me, I shall secure their yogam and kshemam. Aptasya prapanam yogam. Prapanam yogam. Apraptasya prapanam yogam. Obtaining that which one does not have is yogam. Apraptasya prapanam yogam. Obtaining that which one does not have is yogam. Praptasya rakshanam kshemam. Protection of that which is obtained is kshemam. Very beautiful explanation. I just repeat. Apraptasya prapanam yogam. Obtaining that which one does not have is yogam. Praptasya rakshanam kshemam. Protection of that which is obtained is kshemam. Bhagavan's promise is that he will secure or take care of both yogam and kshemam. It is a promise with a superlative condition. Tesham, those who with singular devotion to me, who do not think of anything other than me, who always pray to me and serve me, that is the condition. I repeat, it is a promise with a superlative condition. Tesham, those who with singular devotion to me, who do not think of anything other than me, who always pray to me and serve me, that is the condition. I think here Nanaji used to say, no, avyabhicharini bhakti, that eka bhakti. Ananya chinta means no other thought or worry. Ananya chinta, in contrast, will be who will take care of me if I keep on always praying to Bhagavan? Who will take care of my dear wife and children? What happens to my family when I parent the process? How about the education of my children? Who will organize their well-being and security? And how about their marriages? Who will organize the property division of the members to the members of my family? And such like thoughts. This is so very beautiful. I repeat, Ananya Chinta means no other thought or worry. Ananya Chinta, in contrast, will be all these worldly questions which we always have 24/7, right? So these all questions so beautifully Nanaji has put. Ananya Chinta, in contrast, will be who will take care of me if I keep on always praying to Bhagavan? Who will take care of my dear wife and children? What happens to my family when I perish in the process? How about their marriages? Who will organize the property division to the members of my family? And such like thoughts. Our effort must be to have lasting Shraddha in Bhagwan's promise, unflinching devotion to him, and a commitment to constantly pray to him and serve him. Then we need not worry about yogam, kshemam, both of which are really the burden of Bhagwan. Are we not free persons then? That is the state to which Bhagwan is driving us for our benefit. Was this not a demonstrated feature of Bhagwan Ramana's life? And would he not love such a verse? I will just chant the verse. It is so beautiful. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Whoever prays to me, serves me with no other thought, whoever revel in the identity with me, I shall secure their yogam and kshemam. So Bhagwan has promised here. Anyone can take over. I can continue sharing, or we can stop here for Manana as.
Yeah, I think we'll stop here for Manana.
You want me to read the shloka once again? All, I think 3, 4 we have covered, right, Ramaraji?
Yeah, we started from 20th, 21st. From then on, we did about 7 verses, maybe.
Oh. Yeah, I will just read. Kindly correct me if there is a mistake. This one
I
also,
can chant,
Mandukya
otherwise,
Upanishad.
Bela,
Yeah,
I
I can
chant.
continue sharing the screen, Ramaraji. Yeah. From 22nd, you said, or the first?
20th, 21st. The verse just before this, yeah. Just go above a little. Yeah. Shanai Shanairuparamid Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstham Mana Kritva Nakinchidapi Chintayet. Slowly, gradually, endowed with a discerning intellect, one ought to strive for Atma, the self. Dedicating the mind for the steadfast pursuit of Atma, one shall not think of any other. Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalamastheram tatas niyam yaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. For whatever reason, wherever the fickle and unsteady mind goes, from there and there, bringing it back, lead it towards the pursuit of Atma. Nanta prajnam, na bahir prajnam, no bhayata prajnam, na prajnana ghanam, na prajnam, na prajnam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, ekatma pratyyasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam, chaturtham manyante, sa atma, sa vigneyaha. So this Chaturtham Manyante, the fourth one, Atma is considered to be the fourth. That is the Turyavastha. We have all the three avasthas, three states, no? The Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and then the Turyavastha. So that is, the Turyavastha is considered to be is what is considered here as the fourth. Considered to be the fourth, that is Atma, that is to be known. Yeah. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshinaha. By means of yoga, that is nididhyasana, the one who cognizes the samavastu, that is Atma, perceives himself in every being and perceives all beings in oneself. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Among them, the jnani, ever integrated, excels with his unshakable devotion. I am very dear to the jnani and he is very dear to me. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. At the end of many births, the jnani takes refuge in me. That Mahatma who realizes that all this is Vasudeva is very rare. This is the meaning of Vasudeva that Bhagavan Vyasa mentions in the Vishnu Sahasranama. Vasanad Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarvabhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostute. The fragrance of Vasudeva clothes the three worlds, the indweller of all beings. Vasudeva, salutations to you. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha tamahuh paramangatim yam prapya nanivartante tadhama paramam mama. That is said to be unmanifest, indeclinable, and the supreme end, having gained which there is no return. That is my supreme abode. Ananyas chintayanto mam e janav paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Whoever prays to me, serves me with no other thought. Those who ever revel in the identity with me, I shall secure their yogam and kshemam. Did we do this? Tesham satata yuktanam. I think we have to do this, right?
Yeah, we did not do this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So we'll stop here and we'll discuss and put forward our thoughts on what we've understood.
Jai Gurudev. On one hand, it's very daunting. And on the other hand, yeah, we just do our karma yoga and stay on the path. As there is only one doer, God knows, the divine knows when one can reach him. So that is the comfort I feel now, that I just have to stay on the path and pray that I don't fall off the cart. Jai Gurudev.
See the last verse that we read just now, the Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. He is giving us such a declaration. He says, you just focus on me. I will take care of your yoga and your kshema. Problem is, we want to control our life. We want to control our life and everybody else's lives. He, like what you just now said, Suma, very beautifully. I think what we need to do is just have our attention on just that mumukshutva. That's it. I think all else will be taken care of. We don't need to worry about, because the definition of yogam here, not yoga, yogam, which is apraptasya praptihi. That which we don't have, we want to acquire, which relates to all those things in the material world, either fame, wealth, name, food, shelter, all of that. And then praptasya rakshanam kshemam. And once you get that, you have to secure it. You have to take care of it. That is kshemam. If you have money, you will need to take care. You have some jewelry, you have to take care. Where do I keep it? So that yogam and kshemam is what we are caught up all our lives. We just have to step back and say, what is all this? Do I want to live my life like this throughout? Or do I want to shift gear and start on the other path where I want to spend my time inquiring about what is this nature of the mind, which is what we're all doing. But are we able to, I think that is the turning point. Surrendering to him all our yoga and kshema, because he's going to take care anyways. And that automatically gives us that karma yoga attitude, because you continue to do what you have to do and you're taking whatever result that comes. You're not hankering for the result.
Yeah, this surrender feeling to develop, like this is what was bothering my mind. Like you forget and you take all the things in your hand. You think you are the doer. So until unless you have that persistent thought of him, and then the surrender feeling will come, and then that doership will go. So this is what I was thinking over, how to inculcate that thing, that every time, every second you are in that thought, how to work up upon it. That is what I was thinking from few days, since we are reading this Vibhuti yoga chapter and this 42 verses. So until unless you have that feeling of surrender, and you know, when just like a child who is confident that her mother is there, with that free mind, we should live, that we are doing our task according to the karma yoga and all that we are following, but still this is still lacking. It is, we are, like, I can say for myself, it's still lacking for me, that how you, like, when you entangle yourself in your work, then you start developing that doership, you forget, then again you realize, oh, this is, so it is that again and again realization of that thought, that you are not the doer, he's there. So this, I think I have to work upon this, and I have this in my mind. at present, like.
I think somewhere down the line, that is also binding, isn't it? That is where I think the Shraddha comes in, where you have the faith that this knowledge, being in this knowledge, will redeem you, will take you higher, will evolve, will make you evolve. So then you have that sense of, when you're in that space, then you're not worried. Oh, every minute, every second, I should be thinking of this. I should be doing this. So your mind is then caught up in that. Rather than that, I think what I would think probably is the Shraddha, bringing in the aspect of Shraddha, gives you that sense of letting go. You're just doing it. You're not so worried. Oh, is my mind constantly, every second, is it on this? No? Then automatically it is happening. Otherwise, maybe that it is the sense of doership again that is the one behind saying, oh, I have to think of Atma only every second. So that I is also there. So only when we drop that out of an attitude of surrender, out of being in complete faith that what you're doing is right, you're on the right path, so right track. So don't worry. Like what Gurudev says, he says, once you're on the bus, on the aeroplane, you don't carry on to your luggage, no, you drop it. So similarly, I think being in a space of letting go, maybe because you're doing so much, you're on the path, and maybe a sense of letting go is what will help, is what I think.
Yeah, you don't, that realization doesn't come automatically. That is what I was meaning to say. Like, though there is a lot of Shraddha, you have faith, you are on the path, but how these Brahm Rishis, they are always in that mode, Like, I wonder, like, how many janmas we will take to clean ourselves. We still have to clean ourselves.
Somewhere in the previous shloka, it is said, whenever your mind is going somewhere, you establish it in the present moment. He said, your intellect, you is that intellect, to keep the mind again to that thought. So your mind will go away every time, but your intellect should bring that in that moment. चंचलम ही मन कृष्णा, मन ही ऐसा है कि जो बार बार हमें इन चीजों से दूर ले जाता है. तो आत्मस्थित होने के लिए ही हमको प्रयत्न करना है. तो हाउ मेनी lifetimes we require, it doesn't. Somebody said, no, there are so many leaves on the tree, it's good, at least that much lifetimes I will have, otherwise it is infinite. So this is the time.
Abhyasa and Vairagya.
Yes, Abhyasa and Vairagya. So mind the culprit, and that I am also doing karma yoga. Who is that I who is doing? Again, Vairagya.
So basically,
Actually, all this
the
knowledge
intellect
is
has
so
to evolve, no? Like intellect has to evolve, rather. The mind is doing
true.
what it says. But
At all levels, we have to work. Every
The
time.
whole knowledge is all interconnected. So
Yeah.
you catch one string, you have to catch the other.
So
You have
like
to.
like a chair, you can means when you just वो एक पैर पुल करेंगे तो चारों पैर आने ही है उस तरीके से.
is
I
it true
think
that
we need
Brahma
to
okay,
we need to drop the doership there also. ये कभी होगा कब होगा. Just we are doing our sadhana seva satsang. We are every day doing this knowledge. So the process is happening within, and coming into present moment again and again is the way that awareness remains. So not to worry about kya hoga, kaise hoga, how many lifetimes and all. It's taken care. It's taken care for sure.
वो स्टोरी है ना कि एक पेड़ पे कितने पत्ते हैं, तो अभी मुझे एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं आता है, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा कि कितना टाइम वेट करना पड़ेगा, तो उन्होंने कहा कि जितने पत्ते ये पेड़ पे है उतना ही, तो बोला हाँ एटलीस्ट दैट इज फाइनाइट, नो उतने तो है.
And then immediately that person got enlightened, because
Yes.
he had no hankering on कि कभी मैं enlighten होऊंगा. The moment he dropped that कि okay, in finite time it will happen, and he was rejoicing. The moment he started rejoicing in the self, he was already enlightened. So
So
let's
that
go ahead.
aspect is there. Like, it is not that the worry part is there, but you have to be consciously aware of all the things, consciously aware of your mind, of your actions, of your thoughts, of your speech. Like, constantly you have to be in that alert mode all the time. This is what I interpreted.
Guruji says
That
no,
will be a big
you so
strain.
much
That
time
is
you
a lot
have.
of effort.
Gitaji, not becoming anxious about it. And all these sadhanas, keeping our prana high, and means applying the knowledge in the vyavahar, all those 5 points and everything, and putting your 100% every moment, that itself is, you are becoming more and more aware for sure. Remember 5 years back how we were. So awareness is definitely increasing, not to become anxious for that. Oh, am I aware? I have to be aware every moment. No, the process is on for sure. Apna kaam hai khali, not to jump out of this thing. Continuing all these sadhana seva satsang practices and these knowledge sessions continue. That's what is in our hands. Rest, the divine will take care for sure. Not to become anxious for that awareness also. It's definitely every day by day it is increasing. I think the last thought or the last act, what we do before going to bed, and the very moment we get up, those moments, if we can catch, no, that will extend more and more awareness during the whole day also. That is like my reading. See, now somewhere Yoga Vasishtha is going on in the night, 9 to 10 p.m. And this Swami Anand Vaishampayanji's videos are going on. So with that Yoga Vasishtha knowledge, I go to bed, and in the morning doing sadhana, and then immediately our Bhagavad Gita. So definitely the quality of awareness, and definitely so much changes happening, no? So not to become anxious, just be patient. Patience will anyway, this moment we are rejoicing in the self, no? So moment to moment live the life. Jai Gurudev.
Anyone else wants to share? We have another 5 minutes. It's good for everyone to give one takeaway at least.
Now it's your turn to recap everything in a smaller lines.
One verse like this is the day before yesterday, I was just revising it. Chapter 3, 17 and 18. 18 verse of chapter 3. In this, there's verse number 9 and 10 heading. Neva tasya krutonardho na krutoneha kaschana naschasya sarva bhuteshu kaschidardha vyapashrayaha. This shloka also, like I was relating that how all the pursuits of our mind is all the activities we do for like worldly affairs, for some our own personal benefits, for our food and family and everything, and those things that doing that things we gain some happiness for a slight moment, and how a person who is in the self-knowledge, who is he's discovered his that Satchitananda state, how he does everything out of happiness, not for it. This line was like a very powerful line. Such a person does everything out of happiness, not for it. This is very profound. We do things and then we feel that happiness.
Yeah.
But we have to come to that state that there is happiness always inside, and we don't have to do anything to gain happiness. We just do everything for out of happiness.
Yeah, that is in short a karma yogi, right?
Yeah.
He does everything out of happiness, not for happiness.
Not for happiness.
Very beautiful. Yeah, nice thought to go with today. If we can inculcate this rest of today, just be aware that are we doing it for happiness? In the sense, if whatever we're doing, if our happiness depends on the outcome, if you've cooked a dish, for instance, and you want everyone to appreciate, you cook the dish, of course, with an intention of making it nice and tasty. But are we able to handle it and still be happy, irrespective of how it turns out to be? If it turns out to be good, of course, there is happiness, appreciation, and all that. But if it is not good, if it is not as tasty as you wanted it to turn out to be, are we still able to maintain our state of happiness inside and not become unsteady? I think that will be a part of our sadhana. And every aspect, this is only a small example, every other thing. Yeah, I think we'll stop here today and we'll continue tomorrow. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.